Stonewall Inn was a popular gathering place for New York City's LGBT community. At the time, being gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender was considered obscene, illegal, even a mental illness. One night, police raided the bar and started arresting folks. Raids like these were nothing new, but this time the patrons had had enough, so they stood up and spoke out. The riots became protests.
Stonewall riots were a series of protests organized by the lesbian, gay, homosexual, and transgender, known as the LGBTQ community, that turned violent in the summer of 1969 in New York City. The Stonewall riots are the beginning of a major turning point for the LGBTQ community and gay liberation movement.
So this week, I'm designating the Stonewall National Monument as the newest addition to America's national park system. Stonewall will be our first national monument to tell the story of the struggle for LGBT rights. I believe our national park should reflect the full story of our country, the richness and diversity and uniquely American spirit that has always defined us, that we are stronger together, that out of many, we are one.
The Stonewall riots began in the early morning of June 28, 1969. The Stonewall riots were caused by the continuous police raids at many of the gay bars in New York City. After the police raid at Stonewall Inn, riots arose and the LGBTQ community began to fight back. Former President Obama mentioned that being gay was thought to be a mental illness. People would be taken places and kept there until they were thought to be healed or fixed from being gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. Then they would be allowed to go home under some circumstances still. They were sometimes given pills or had to do things that they didn't want to do. Other people that were not part of the LGBTQ community didn't really think about anything related to gay rights until the Stonewall riots. The Stonewall riots gave people faith, hope, and courage that something was going to change. And in fact, it did. A year after the Stonewall riots, the first gay pride parade was hosted in New York City on June 28, 1970. The Gay Pride Parade is an outdoor event that celebrates the LGBTQ acceptance. White House was lit in all the colors of the rainbow on January 20th, 2017 to honor the Supreme Court's decision to allow gay marriage.
The night the police raided the bar on June 28th, the people outside the bar did not retreat or even scatter, like they had usually done in the past. Their anger was apparent and vocal as they watched the bar patrons being forced into a police van. They began to fight back, throwing bottles and debris at the police. They had grown tired of having to hide their true selves and started the Stonewall to fight for what was right, and them starting to fight got others ready to continue. The Stonewall riots happened because people got tired of being mistreated, and they made it their duty to make sure that they get equal treatment like everybody else in the world.
In conclusion, the Stonewall riots were an important part in history and have influenced many other gay acts and was the beginning of a long line of LGBTQ rights. The Stonewall riots taught others that just because someone feels differently, they shouldn't be treated differently. It also taught that it's good to look from a different perspective to see how others feel, rather than just thinking about themselves. If you only look from one perspective, you don't see how others feel about themselves.